Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the East Bay Sports Talk podcast. I am your host, Steven Avalos, alongside my dad, as always.
Hello.
And, really glad to be back because we were out last week, or really, I was out last week due to my wisdom teeth removal. I got all four removed on Friday last week, and it was a pretty tough day.
Quite the sight.
Yeah, my mouth was completely swollen, and I was throwing up blood multiple times. And I was also starving too because it's really hard trying to find things to eat besides applesauce and chicken broth. Although I can't argue, those are pretty good.
You got to love them, appreciate them.
And so, yeah, that was the reason why we couldn't really record last week. But we're back now. Really glad to be back. And today we're going to talk about the Warriors, Curry's return, and talking about who we think is going to be on the team next year, or who's going to be fighting for certain roster spots. And then we'll talk about the Raiders, talk about what's going on with what happened with the combine, the draft, what we think could happen, and free agency. And then lastly, talk about Derek Carr. Anything you want to talk about right now that's on your mind?
I have nothing on my mind.
Nothing was on my mind as well for those few hours I was in surgery. But either way, let's get to it, folks. So first off, we got the Warriors. Now, they had a pretty good game a few days ago against the Denver Nuggets. Big time upset, as the Warriors have the worst record in the NBA right now, and Denver is the number 2 seed at this moment in the West. So for them to win in Denver was just really big. And I know you're not too big on Jordan Poole. I get it. He's definitely had plenty of mistakes, but I feel like over the years so far, he's made plenty of adjustments. He just needs to find much more consistency. And when the team gets really better next year, when you got Curry, Clay, and Draymond back, and hopefully whoever's going to be their big draft pick, I think all the players will be leveled up a bit. And one of those, I believe, will be Jordan Poole.
Yeah, he disappeared last night. Didn't score. I think he had 15 minutes, 0 for 2. He looked lost.
And last night we're talking about the game where Curry returned against the Toronto Raptors. So before that, he played really well, over 20 points, made plenty of threes, and plenty of great assists that reminded me of Steph Curry, honestly. But other than that, yeah, he really was gone last night. But one person that really made his presence known was Stephen Curry. He was 23 points is, still plenty for someone that came back from missing 58 games. He had one shot. You were at the game, so you probably saw that one shot where he made it from over 30 feet.
Yes. I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing until you know what you're missing. I mean, we've been going to games this year, and they've just lacked a spark.
Yeah.
And when they announced his name, the place just erupted.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty impressive. He started off slow. Anybody who watched it, you could see he was I think 0 for 3, maybe 0 for 4, but his passing was right there. He did a couple behind the back passes. Would have had easily over 10 assists, maybe 12 assists. So we not had a waste of air out there in Bender. Yeah, big guy can't jump.
I'd say a waste of air, but
he's a waste of air.
Roster spot.
Same thing. Roster spot, air. Okay. I don't think a guy can jump over a foot off the ground, and he's 10-day contract. They signed him for another 10-day contract just because they don't have the bodies. Green is still out. Looney is out, and as well as Bowman. So he's basically just taking up a spot, but he's a waste of
a roster
spot.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed with Bender at all. He has his little moments, but most of the time it's like you just get really frustrated when there's a center posted up on him, and he's not going to be able to defend them.
He can't defend a point guard. The point guard jumps higher than him. He's intimidated by any player besides. If he were to look in the mirror, he'd be intimidated. Frustration grows.
How do you really feel?
Oh, I just said it, and I let it be known last night with my booze. every
Well,
time he touched the ball.
speaking of boos, did you hear any other boos last night for a certain player, former Warrior?
Oh, McCaw, wow, he got mercilessly booed. But I don't know if he gave up on the team. What his reasons? Do you know more
He
about
went
that?
dead silent on them. Like the Warriors were trying to reach out to him, and he did not give any response. And then they released him, and then he signed with the Toronto Raptors, who won the championship that year.
I would like to know what's behind that because we're hearing right now the Warriors' a viewpoint. It'd be nice if you would do any interview somewhere and
Well, this was all like last year. There's probably more to it that we maybe probably forgot or something like that. But either way, he was just really weird because he practically like ghosted the team.
yeah, I'd like to know the full story on that.
Yeah, and I honestly kind of liked
His
it.
side, his side of the story.
I kind of liked hearing the boos, honestly, because I thought it was pretty well deserved for someone that gave up on their team.
That we know of.
That
We're only hearing the one side.
Yeah, true. But either way, you're right. Curry's comeback was a big spark for the team. Even though they did lose, they really made it a game for almost all 48 minutes until the last minute. That's when things got pretty carried away. But all in all, it was very promising.
I think they tried to get him the ball a little.
A little too much?
Forced the ball to him a little bit too much, which caused turnovers. Toronto is, I think, the number 2 team in
Forced turnovers?
in the East.
Oh, in the East.
In the East, and the Warriors played
They played a great game.
They did play a great game.
Yeah, any other team, they probably would have beat them.
But I tell you,
Other teams.
Ibaka,
Oh.
that guy's a beast, and he's.
You want to talk about being a beast? Norman Powell had a career high.
Yeah, 37 point. Who? Norman who?
Yeah, like who's this guy? He just had a decent quarter. No,
Did they get him from the Clippers?
I think so. I think that's where I heard that name before. But he wasn't too big of a player at the time. But
He made himself into one.
Yeah,
He dominated. Lowry didn't have all that good of a game.
I feel like
From what I saw.
Lowry doesn't really play that well against the Warriors. I can't really think of times. Of course, we only see each other twice a year
Yeah.
because we're in different conferences. But even in the finals, I can't really remember a whole lot. Although I do remember Siakam doing really well, and he did well today as well. Last night.
Yeah.
Now that we got that out of the way, I think we should also talk about the roster for next year because now, like, that Curry's brought a spark back into the team. Of course, it's not going to mean anything for this year. Usually just going out with dignity at this point.
Well, let me go back. Sorry, folks, but I want to get back to one other thing about the Denver game where the Warriors won. They played Denver earlier in the year in Denver and had an 18-point lead, eventually losing in overtime.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So the Warriors do play good against Denver. They should have beat them 2 times in a row, but woulda and shoulda are 2 different things. They didn't have
The roster.
the win last time or the roster, yeah. But get back to who?
The roster.
The roster.
Talking about
Let's go down the list.
All right, go
Shall
ahead.
we? 10-day contract Bender, worthless.
I think it's pretty easy to say that he'll be gone within.
All he does is shoot outside 3-pointers, and he doesn't make. That's supposed to be a specialty, by the way.
He's got some hook shots, but yeah, I haven't seen him make a 3-pointer yet.
I've seen him make a couple, but it doesn't make up for the fact he's a waste of air.
I say another 10-day contract or 2, and that'll be it for him until Green and or Looney come back.
A nice pickup was Mulder. He's playing very nice.
Yeah, he makes some ball handling mistakes every now and then, but actually he's decent on ball handling. But he's lost the ball a couple times, but he has a more consistent shot than most of the players there when it comes to the corner.
He plays like he wants to be there.
Yeah.
Unlike Bender. I can't even say his name.
And who's next?
Toscano Anderson.
No, I wanted to take a guess that it was him, but I didn't, and now I'm. Really
Now, what is so unique about him?
What's so unique about him?
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just guessing that he was going to be the next one because like the way you were going down the order is like, oh, let me guess he's next because he's another player.
So you can read my mind now. What am I thinking?
You're thinking about things.
Very true. I always think of things. Anyway, Toscano.
You know what I'm thinking about? Let's just get back to this.
I am Toscano Anderson.
Uh, Very mixed, honestly. Because like he fouls a lot, which really bugs me. He doesn't really play that smart of defense.
Now, does he foul a lot, or the referees aren't giving him the time of day?
At first, I thought it was the referees not being fair enough with him, but sometimes you see him barge into players when he's not supposed to, or trying to stay up and all that. Just keep your arms up and jump along with them instead of trying to go at them. And he just gets in foul trouble pretty quickly. And I remember even the game we were at, you said that about him. So like there's barely anyone on this roster. What are you doing?
Yeah, his newness really showed. He played like a rookie, looked like a rookie. So, I mean, he's only played a handful of games in the NBA. He's got an upside. Uh,
I say he's probably gonna go back to the D League soon, and maybe another team will sign him. Another team that's like needs a roster spot. I could see him being there for that.
he is the lone Mexican-born player in the NBA. Yes,
Wow.
yeah.
Fact
And he's a
today.
local boy too.
Oh yeah, I know that. I've heard that he's from Oakland.
Yeah,
Pretty cool, but unfortunately, I'm not really sure where his
he's
future
getting
lies
some
with the
experience
team.
in here,
Yeah,
up here.
you can never be mad about gaining experience. Well, unless it's a bad experience. But either way, who's next?
Um, Pascal.
Pascal. Oh man, man, he's a great player. He's easily my favorite Warrior this year.
He seems like a 3-year player in the league. The way he's playing.
A 3-year player.
Yeah, he's been in the league for 3 years.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought you meant like
he's not playing like a rookie.
I thought you meant like that's how long he'll last. I'm like, wait a second, hold on now. This isn't football.
No, I like him a lot. He hustles, scores,
He has a great
rebounds.
mid range too.
Great mid-range jump shot, which is almost a lost shot nowadays. I will actually go through games and see how many mid-range jump shots were even attempted during a game.
Oh yeah.
And the other day, Houston played a game. Um, I escaped who they played, but they had 0 mid-range jump shots. It was either a three-pointer or an inside shot. It just boggles the mind. If you remember the Warrior teams, they had Sean Livingston,
Iguodala. He
Iguodala.
shot some mid range.
Yeah, a lot of mid-range jumpers. You always have Curry, you always have Thompson, all great mid-range jump shots. KD, great mid-range jump shots because nobody defends right there.
Yeah, and plus you're just closer. You're not trying to go for something from long range, even though the points aren't as satisfying. It's still a much easier shot to make.
Yeah. Wiggins.
Well, actually, can I keep going on Pascal? Because
continue.
When it comes to his form, it's a bit trippy because you see his legs stick up a little bit more than most players you would notice. You know what I mean?
His legs?
Yeah, his legs stick up more. Like his legs go a bit higher when he's there. So it's just something like is coming underneath him and he's trying to dodge it, which I just find pretty interesting. But no, like you said, I really like his drive and all that. He had a really great start to the season. Went a little bit quiet, but I think that was because he wasn't really getting the ball enough, which I don't know how you don't get the ball enough on a team like that, especially since we're fighting for just people to have a roster spot. But either way, I think he's going to be a great complementary player in the second team next year.
Coming off the bench, I think he's going to be solid. He's going to get a little niche for himself.
A guaranteed 8 to 10 point game, I think.
Guaranteed 8 to 10 points.
Yeah.
I can see that easily.
And then you said Wiggins?
Yes, Wiggins.
When he came into the team, there was definitely a bit of controversy because plenty of people wanted D'Angelo Russell to stay. I want him to stay as well.
I did too. I wanted to come off the bench next year. He would have to accept that role.
But I'm not sure if he wanted to accept that.
Well, if you're winning, who gives a crap?
Oh.
Why are you whispering?
People care.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't think he wanted that kind of role. And even Steve Kerr, which a little odd how he said, he didn't really think it was going to work out when they signed him. But then when they did, he said, oh, it's going to be great. So he kind of changed his perception about the whole thing.
It seems odd for a head coach to say that about a player.
Yeah. So, there's probably something that maybe we don't know yet that they'll probably talk about later.
I remember when Warriors picked up Curry. Monte Ellis had said, this ain't going to work out before they even played a game together. He said, we won't be able to play together. Can't do it. It won't work. Give it a shot, man. Well, you can see how long he lasted after that.
Yeah, he before Curry came by, he was like probably the biggest player on that team.
Oh, he was by far.
And then once Curry came in, even just started to establish himself, Monte Ellis became not only irrelevant to the Warriors but to the entire NBA. Honestly.
Yeah, I was watching the game when they retired Chris Mullins' jersey, and when they introduced Lacob.
Oh, because that was after they traded Ellis
and he got booed mercilessly.
Yeah, and then what do you call it?
Who would have seen that happening? Ellis was a great player with the Warriors. He was a scoring machine. And then, and for them to pick up an injured player, I do believe that was Andrew Bogut.
Yes.
Yeah. A guy who we weren't going to see for at least, I think, close to a year. I don't think he played at all that year.
Yeah, I have no memory of that, although I wasn't really a sports fan at the time.
Yeah. But Bogut worked out real well. Great defender. He was limited shot-wise because of his shoulder, I do believe.
Well, also he's a center, too. Centers at that time weren't really
he scored big in Milwaukee.
Shooters.
He was great in Milwaukee.
Before
the injury. Oh, yeah, before the injury.
Oh.
He was an all-star. I do believe he was an all-star. Don't quote me on that, even though basically you are. Anyway, getting back to Wiggins.
Yeah, I was going to say we got to get back to Wiggins here. No, when I first heard about the trade, at first I'm really bummed out that they traded away D'Angelo Russell because, like I said, I liked him on the team and I wanted to keep him. But, knowing realistically, it's probably not going to happen, I kind of came to clarity with that. And looking at Wiggins, I saw some people react, they said, why are you getting someone like him? He's not even that good. It's no, I think he has a lot of potential.
He was playing on a crappy team.
Yeah, and plus a team that I don't think he was too happy with.
No, they gave up on him. He was the number one draft choice.
Yeah.
And he didn't live up to his potential. But it's hard when
your team isn't doing enough for you.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Jimmy Butler when he was on their team, I don't think that helped at all because Jimmy Butler just had a certain persona when he was there. I think bothered everyone, and I know Wiggins was one of those players.
Well, he was talking shit constantly while he was on the team.
Yeah, and neither of us can stand for that kind of stuff, so we really understand.
Can't stand it.
Understand Wiggins' point of view on that, if there was one. This is some of this is a bit of speculation, but that's just how we feel on the topic.
I think Wiggins is going to work out great. His defense is continuing to improve. He's always had the offense, and when he
still needs some work though. He needs to be a little bit more consistent shot wise, but and also on free throws because I haven't really seen him be consistent yet with making free throws, which the whole team has struggled with.
Well, actually, the Warriors are number 2 in the league right now in free throw percentage, 80%.
Are you sure about that?
I just looked it up yesterday.
Good.
They've been either 1 or 2 in shooting free throw shooting percentage all year long.
I guess
it's okay. Hey, you make mistakes, no biggie. It just looks lately the missed free throws have been very important. The ones they missed, so they tend to stand out more than the makes.
Yeah, and plus I feel like I just have a very bad memory of times I actually made 2 in a row. But either way, is that all we got to say about Wiggins?
I think next year, what's going to be so great about next year, and I know I'm going ahead of schedule, but when they get Thompson back and Curry and Draymond and Looney, things are going to open up for all the players.
Yeah.
They struggle to make their own shots because basically they don't have
all the weight's been on their backs the entire time.
I wouldn't say once they get on the court, I think the weight goes off. It's the perception of having to come through. before. Once the game starts, it's just a game for them. I think.
Well,
If
either
that makes
way,
any sense at all.
either way, when the three of them come back, or four, as you said, things will definitely be a lot better.
Speaking of better, Chris.
Oh man, he's Pascal is the most I think consistent shooter on the team. What do you call it? I think Marquise Chris is the most consistent at scoring in general. Either if it's a layup, dunk, or he doesn't really shoot, but when it comes to close range, he is like very efficient.
He's got to stop that 3-pointer. You get better at it or don't do it because
I haven't seen him
it's
shoot a
inefficient.
3-pointer in a
I
while.
saw him shoot 2 of them yesterday.
Ooh.
Not good.
Yeah, but he does pretty well reading plays. When someone tries to alley oop to him, he reacts to those very well. And he's just he's a big guy.
Nothing but upside for him.
Yeah, and he's what the Warriors really need at this moment. Is someone that's really big, can get the rebound, and can take it to the hoop.
And with all the weapons they will have next year, I predict now you will get 5 dunks a game. 5 dunks a game easily with next year's roster.
And is he going to be a starter or on the bench?
I think it's starter.
Starter.
Yeah.
So
have either Looney come off the bench possibly, with the second team. Looney's. Speaking of a big missing piece of the puzzle right now is Looney.
Yeah.
When he was out there, he just knows what the hell's going on,
especially during the finals.
And it's so obvious that he plays such incredible defense. He knows where to look for the ball inside, how to defend inside. He's just.
He seems like a great guy in general too. He really puts it all on the court.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's had to deal with an injury bug his whole career so far. So hopefully, at some point in his career, while he's with the Warriors or with anyone, because we just want to do well in general, but preferably with us, of course. We hope he gets through those injuries and he has a healthy career.
Yeah. Well, Curry started off with the injury bug and that lasted a couple of years, and he's been pretty healthy lately.
Yeah, mostly.
Minus the 58 games he missed.
Yeah.
And we have next on it is Poole.
Poole. I think he could be a good player off the bench. Of course, I think that's going to be his only role because he's already got Curry and Thompson. But I feel like I already kind of made my case with him before. He started as a player that kind of reminded me of Vakal in a way, although I hate to make that comparison. Where he seemed like a bit scared to shoot. Would rather try to make a move.
Scared to shoot? Okay.
But he's had various spurts.
Well, watching Poole play, I was hoping he wouldn't make his first shot because if he were to make his first shot, he'd want to take another shot almost right away, and it was not. If he missed it, he'd go, "Damn it, I can make this next one," and he'd shoot again, and he missed it. Oh, I could do something. I can make another one, or I don't know. He's a rookie.
Yeah.
I wanted to get rid of him the first week, the way he played, but he's kind of growing on me a little bit. He's a rookie. He's playing like one.
I've already had faith.
Whereas you got Pascal, he's not playing like a rookie. Yeah. Chris is not playing like a rookie. Poole, rookie.
Yeah. So I think it's just because of the standards that, the bar that Chris and Pascal have raised. I think it's just a bit of a. It's unfortunate for Jordan Poole, but I have a lot of faith in him, and he, like I said, or what I was going to say, he has very spurts of wanting to shoot the ball more, making those shots, and having more command on the court when the ball is when he has the ball.
Yeah, he had a good stretch of like 4 or 5 games where he really showed he belonged.
And against Denver, he was great against Denver.
Yeah. Let's talk about Lee.
At the first half of the season, I was like, man, this is going to be someone that, is going to be really good off the bench, like Jordan Poole as well. He'd probably beat him, Poole, Pascal, Chris or Looney, and then someone else on the bench. But in the past week, Lee has been very questionable, in my opinion.
Well, he could tell yesterday. He forced a lot of stuff. And he wanted to be the man, and he didn't come through. And you could tell by his facial reactions that he he let the team down. But there'll be more games like this, so he's going to get more opportunities.
Yeah.
I like his shot.
He just needs to play a little bit smarter ball because he
Gotta
basically
use your head, man.
the past 2 or 3 games, he just hasn't looked like himself as we usually see it. It just makes me a little bit concerned because I definitely want him to be a part of the team next year. I know it won't be a good conversation next Thanksgiving with the Currys if he's taken off the team.
And the last but not least, Stephen Curry. Do we need to say much about him?
He's got potential.
He is such a joy out there. He has so much fun.
And so unselfish. That's what everyone says whenever they're asked about him. He's such an unselfish player.
Yeah, you saw him before the game go up and talk to the refs, the opposing players. Big old smile on his face. Yeah, I can't say enough about him. And I'll continue to enjoy every minute he's on the court. Right? He'll have off days, but who cares? He can do no wrong in my book.
No, he's also the only player that can say he's a unanimous MVP.
So true.
Very true.
So, how many wins did you say you thought the Warriors going to get? By the way,
it was somewhere in the 40s.
No, I'm going to remind you.
It was somewhere like in the low 40s, I think. I hope.
And I had said
20s.
17, I do believe.
Yeah, we're kind of on pace for that.
They are on pace for 17.
I say 18.
No, you can't go 18 after. Nice try. No, you said I think you. On one of the other ones, I think you went as low as 27. Yeah. I think you said, but I've been sticking by my guns.
Yeah, well, that was also before Curry went out and such, and just the roster got even more depleted.
Yeah.
But either way, you still got to be ready for that kind of stuff to happen in the season. Nothing is going to work out perfectly. So
your overall view of the Warriors this year and next year?
Just a lot of potential, really, and competitiveness that, even though it hasn't led to losses, but the result has been losing a lot of games, especially at the most important times. It just shows that this team is at least trying their hardest, and that's a good place to start.
Yeah, and as opposed to them basically not having a chance against any team this year, besides the Minnesotas of the world or
any other team,
any other crappy team, they have a shot against the mediocre teams now.
Yeah,
with Curry back. But I don't know. Do you want them to win?
Yeah, because honestly, I don't think they're able to catch up to anyone.
Yeah, I don't never want to see them lose. But if they lose, there's no, nothing is that important this year. Wins aren't that important this year.
Yeah, and also we joked around a lot about having the number 1 pick since we'll be the worst team, but that's not even guaranteed because I remember now there's a lottery for that, so we could be the worst team out there, but still not get the first overall pick.
But with the amount of picks they have, I think a deal will be made.
Yeah.
A deal will be made.
Whoopsie daisy. Looks like we forgot a couple players.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about Bowman.
And Green.
And Green.
And technically Thompson as well, even though he hasn't been able to play a single game.
Yeah, what do you think about it? Do you think he'll be playing in the Olympics? Wait a minute. First of all, will there be an Olympics?
Well, we already kind of discussed that before.
Yeah, but the things have changed. There's more talk on possibly them
just canceling
it or delaying it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, honestly.
Well,
I think just cancel it. It's not going to kill you, although it'll hurt your money.
Kill it? You might kill it?
Or let's just go to the top.
Okay.
So Draymond Green, you were talking about. So he's definitely had a actually down year so far. Dealing with a lot of injuries and poor play.
I don't know if he wants to play or he frustrated playing on a crappy team. But these injuries, I mean, he got kicked out of the Laker game really early in the game, and it wasn't because of a bum knee.
Yeah,
he just didn't want to be there. It was obvious he didn't want to be there.
Yes,
and he hasn't played since.
It does put some question in, maybe where his feelings are at right now with how the team is playing. But hopefully he should come back sometime soon when Curry.
Well, he's got to be there to mentor the younger guys.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been there.
And then Kai
I'm
Bowman.
sure things are different in practice, but.
But Kai Bowman.
Kai Bowman, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of him. I think he should either be.
It might be the hair.
No,
that really bothered. No.
No, I can feel this. But I think he probably will not make the roster next year. I just don't think he.
He's a rookie, also. He's shown flashes.
I don't know.
I agree with you.
I think they'll get
rid of him.
They'll sign someone in free.
Bowman who?
Okay. Well, either way, then I think that pretty much is it, right?
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Well, now that we're done with that conversation, we will now get to the Raiders. So, pretty sure that I might have to carry Elias' conversation, as you said before we started recording, that you're a little bit behind on lots of the Raider stuff.
Yeah.
So first I wanted to talk about the Combine. So there were some players that really showed a lot of potential this year that the Raiders could draft.
Now you're talking about showing a lot of potential at the Combine?
Yes.
Combine, I'm sorry, folks, but I think Combine's a total waste of time. They're running, they're throwing to. No, the players are already proven. What else is there to prove on a Combine? Nothing.
You have a decent point. But either way,
are they not going to draft what's the number one player?
Who? A wide receiver?
No, the quarterback for LSU.
Why would we draft a quarterback? We haven't talked at all about that.
We're talking about the number one. What's his name?
Oh, Burrow.
Burrow, yeah. If he has a crappy combine,
would that
combine, is that going to change anything?
Of course not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, unless there's an injury, then that would change a team's mind. Yeah. Which maybe we could talk about, like maybe the Combine risking players' health because they're still going out on the field. And I can't really think of a specific time someone got hurt during the Combine, but I bet it's something people still might think about or feel some concern for. But either way, I really look forward to this year's draft because there's plenty of people at the wide receiver position. You got Jerry Jeudy from, I believe, Alabama. Then you also got Henry Ruggs, also from Alabama. Henry Ruggs III. I would just, be specific with his name. And then last but most definitely not least, CeeDee Lamb, who from Oklahoma. And, I talked about wide receivers being a big thing in this draft because, well, that's what the Raiders really need because they got screwed over last year with the whole Antonio Brown situation.
No, very screwed themselves. They should never picked him up anyway.
Well, either way.
Where's Brown playing this year? What did he play last year? Nowhere.
He's not playing anywhere this year. You could go. There's something about him I thought he was going to go to jail, but then that just, I don't know. I stopped hearing about that. And then he tried to make a rumor that he was going to go to the Raiders again. And then the GM, Mike Mayock, just said, well, he had his time on the team, and I believe that time is over.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Mike Mayock, by the way. I think he's done a great job so far, even though it's only his second year as a general manager.
Where did he come from?
He was doing the mock drafts on NFL for NFL Network. He was part of the whole drafting crew. All the guys that are there on set, where once people get drafted, they talk about them immediately and they see their potential. So knowing someone like that who's always working, especially like someone that could handle, having to talk with other people a lot. I think that works really well for the team. And it's really shown because he hit a home run with last year's draft. I think we had a really good draft team. Do you think of any players right now?
Who did he draft?
You got, pretty much everyone. We got Josh Jacobs. That was a big time player, such a great running back, very reliable when it came to closing in for touchdowns and just such great energy from him. and you could tell he really loves being a Raider. Then you also got, let's see, Hunter Renfrow. That's a guy who was in the 7th round. And I remember hearing his name, like, wait, he was still in college? Like, I thought he was in college forever. But
he looks like it.
When you see him, it's like, oh, is he in his 30s?
Very unassuming.
Yeah, but Hunter Renfrow is a very solid slot receiver. He doesn't have to start games. You don't need him to make the biggest catch of the entire game. But he'll be there when you need him for something like simple. He's very reliable.
He runs the routes. He runs a good route.
And he's got decent hands. That's all you need from someone sometimes.
I like good hands.
Yes, everyone needs a good hand. And then you also got Max Crosby, who's a complete steal in the 4th round, who honestly should have been a bigger contender than he was for Defensive Rookie of the Year, as his stats were extremely similar to the winner of that award, Nick Bosa. I just love the energy from a lot of those players. And then undrafted player they got was Alec Ingold, who's the fullback, which is his position is almost extinct across the NFL. But Gruden, he loves to play old school, which could go for better or for worse at times. But in Alec Ingold's case, it went for the better because he was excellent when it came to 4th down plays. The only time I could think of times he didn't do well on 4th down was the time in Week 17 against Denver where he got completely screwed on the call. But either way, he's a really solid player.
That was his fault.
Yeah, it's not his fault at all.
So obviously you would give this GM
a high
passing grades.
Oh, very much so. And especially the way he handled the whole thing with Antonio Brown. Just saying, like, yep, he was there, and not anymore. And plus,
what kind of grade would you give Gruden?
A B- so far. And you still got to think about the players that you have on deck. A lot of things go down to the coach, and a lot of things also go down to who you have, and also there's all the assistant coaches that change the game plan. But overall, it's all Gruden's game right now, and for the moment, B- to a neutral B.
Okay.
Yeah, and so out of those 3 receivers I mentioned a while back, so I'll go over their names again. It was Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs III, and CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is in the top 10 of fastest 40-yard dashes. Now, I know that's not a big deal because John Ross has the fastest of all time, but he's on the Cincinnati Bengals, and he hasn't done a whole lot. He's a decent player, but not, someone that you would expect to do so well when they have the fastest recorded time in the 40-yard dash. But out of all those players, I'm not really sure which one I want the most, but I'll simply just want to go with any of them, honestly, with the number 12 pick. You get any of them, and I am satisfied. And then they also have the 19th overall pick, thanks to the trade with Chicago a couple years ago. I know that's still looked at controversially.
With Khalil?
Yeah. It's looked at controversially at times, but
Mr. Mack, as he likes to be known. He does like to be known as Mr. Mack. Little tidbit information.
Either way, there's one specific player I think about for that pick, and that's Kenneth Murray. He's a linebacker for Oklahoma. I hear he's got great leadership skills. He is great against the run and against tight ends, which the Raiders need desperately, because I can't think of a single year they were good against defending tight ends. Can you?
No.
Neither can I, even though I already stated that, so I just stated it twice.
Would you like to state it a third time?
No.
Okay.
But either way, those are the guys that I really want in the first round. Outside of that, I'm not really too sure. It's kind of hard to predict things because every other team has their wants and needs as well. Wouldn't you agree?
Everybody has wants and needs.
If you don't have to meet with me.
No, I do. Okay.
But that's pretty much all I got to say on the draft. We'll update you more later on as the draft gets closer. We'll try to maybe do our own mock draft, even though it would take a while to do. I think it'd be pretty fun. And it would definitely enhance our knowledge of football and what it's like to think in the head of a GM.
Ooh.
But either way, now to get into free agency. So wide receiver, again, like I said, wide receiver is a big need because the only players I can really think about at the moment that are somewhat reliable are Tyrell Williams, who was really good in the first 5 weeks, caught a touchdown in each of those games, only had 2 more for the rest of the season. That was because he was dealing with a big foot injury, really nasty. So when he's recovered from that, hopefully he'll be a much better receiver. But I prefer to him to be the number 2 receiver on the team, not number 1. And then Hunter Renfrow, who I already praised earlier.
Are there any free agents you'd like to pick up?
One person I thought about earlier was Robbie Anderson, a wide receiver from the Jets. But now that I kind of think about it, he's already said that he's going to have a big asking price. So that doesn't really sit well with me, even though the Raiders do have a lot of money.
Cap space, they have a lot of cap space.
50 million right now, 50 or 55.
They can throw a little bit my way?
No. But they could take out, or not take out, but add $7 million to that if they release their linebacker, Whitehead. He's been on the team for 2 years now from Detroit, and he hasn't really made much of an impact. So I think if we could let him go, especially to get $7 million out of it, I think it's an easy decision to make. And get linebackers, get a D lineman, and maybe a wide receiver, a complimentary one. What do you think about what they might need? And corner. Corner is a big need as well because we don't know what they're going to do with their most consistent one, I guess you can say, Daryl Worley, who is a free agent now. I honestly would like to have him back on team on a decent contract.
Who would you get rid of? On your at 8 defensive backs, which ones do you get rid of? I know you're very passionate about your defensive backs.
True. I don't know, honestly, because
you complain about them every game.
I complain a bit. Usually, it was guys like Lawson, or mainly him, and then somebody else.
Gone. Who else?
That was because they were just put in a really bad situation. Especially after Carl Joseph was out for the season. Carl Joseph, another defensive back who is a free agent, and there's you got to debate. Do you want these players back? Worley, Joseph, and do you want to add someone? And for adding, there's 2 players that the Raiders.
You like Joseph? Is that right?
I do like Joseph. So if I had to choose either of them, even though the different positions, I'd say Joseph.
Now, keeping Joseph, is that any reason because your middle name is Joseph?
No.
Okay.
But either way, they're actually looking at 2 different cornerbacks that are going to be free agents, which are Byron Jones from the Dallas Cowboys, who's a really solid player. He's only 27 years old, too, so a lot of upside and potential for him, for someone who's already a great player. And then Chris Harris Jr., who's from the Broncos, so it'd be nice to get a division rival on your team. I think Chris Harris is more likely to go somewhere else because he's been someone, like talking with other teams. You got social media where players will talk to each other to try to hint at, like, hey, we want you on our team. And the players will respond, hey, you say what you need from me and I'll be there. All that kind of talk. And so he's been talking with other teams about that a lot. But someone like Byron Jones, I'd like to have him. And I'm pretty much all I got to say about free agency. But last but most definitely not least, the future of Derek Carr. Now, there were rumors going on in the past month about how the Raiders are going to pursue Tom Brady. And I'm pretty sure those rumors were true for a while, that they actually thought about going for him if he was available.
Big mistake.
Yeah, and at this moment now, it looks like that's not going to happen. The only reason they would let go of Carr is if they could definitely get him. But knowing how Brady is, he's the guy that would want plenty of weapons. Now the Raiders could get themselves some weapons this year, but I don't think it's how Brady would want it. Plus, for me, I feel about it.
Too many years he can waste, and for them to waste a year having him when he doesn't have the receivers.
He's only going to want to go to a team that just needs a quarterback to win the Super Bowl. They're only one quarterback away, and then they have a chance.
Like possibly the Niners.
Niners? I'll say even the Chargers too, possibly.
Chargers? You think they're a Super Bowl team with the guy quarterback?
Possibly because you see how Rivers plays.
He did play pretty bad. He's already gone, isn't he?
Not yet. I think he's
officially?
a free. I think he's either a free agent or no. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Or no, they released him.
He stunk up the stadiums last year. Wow.
Yeah, but luckily
and that came out of nowhere because he had a good year the previous year.
No, I think he's a pretty good player in general, but
just didn't play like it.
Yeah. And what do you call it? Like I said earlier, Brady's only going to go to a team that really shows that they need him to win, and the Raiders aren't that team. And I'm glad about that because Raiders should not try to pursue him. Carr had a much better year last year compared to his first with John Gruden. John Gruden has already said it. The general manager Mike Mayock has said it, and like I said, I trust Mayock's opinion very much. And so for him to display faith in Derek Carr gives me faith in that they will keep him, which I believe they should. Carr's a great guy, and of course, you can't just be a great guy, but I think you also got to be a decent player.
I'd take an asshole that wins you games. I would take an asshole quarterback.
Really?
Over a nice guy that doesn't win games. Yes.
Oh, shoot. I take someone that's questionable, not a complete jerk. If they're a complete jerk, then it becomes embarrassing. If
you go 16 and 60,
16 and 0.
Well, no, let's be more realistic.
If you win a
12
Super
and
Bowl,
4, and your quarterback's an asshole,
there's always some.
I would like that.
You like it, but there's still a little bit of guilt with it.
Just win, baby.
See, that's the part of the Raider that I don't have.
Okay, you want a nice guy quarterback that gets you eight wins a year?
Why can't we have both a good quarterback and a nice one?
He could always become an asshole.
Either way, I really like Derek Carr. I want them to keep him, and it looks like at this point.
What quarterbacks right now do you think is a jerk?
Is a jerk?
Yeah.
Well, Brady can.
What team? What good quarterback would you not want?
A good quarterback that I don't want?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Maybe. Honestly, I don't even know because there's some players that are just so inconsistent. Like maybe Cam Newton at one point because he.
Roethlisberger, would you like him?
No.
Oh boy.
No, I don't want.
Speak your mind.
I'm not a fan of Roethlisberger. Cam Newton, I feel like he could be a bit of a diva. But he also hasn't really been playing well. He's been injured multiple times. And like I said, actually someone even made a prediction, or not a prediction, something that the Raiders need to do, he said, is trade Derek Carr and a second-round pick for Cam Newton, which I was laughing. I thought it was a joke.
Out loud.
Yes.
Okay.
But honestly,
I was throwing it out there, making no.
One player I definitely feel a little iffy about too is Rodgers. He's a great quarterback, and the whole thing was Cal. That already is a big win for me.
Go Bears.
Cal. Go Bears. But knowing the reports that I've heard from him, how he tries to make the team the way he wants it to be.
Well, quarterback should do that.
Yeah, but you shouldn't overtake a coach, especially a coach that already
a rookie coach that doesn't know what they're doing.
Well, no, I'm talking about the previous coach because he was already coach for a long time. For that team.
Yeah.
Already won them a Super Bowl. Either way, I can't really think of a quarterback that's a complete jerk. Like I said, the ones I mentioned were just like,
Except for Roethlisberger. You were very opinionated about him.
Okay, I'll admit that.
Okay.
But either way, what I'm trying to say is that I really want to keep Carr.
What are you trying to say, Steven?
I want Carr on the team this year. And I will say, I just heard the news today, they actually are looking at Marcus Mariota for the backup role, which I think isn't too bad. Mariota is an early draft pick from, I believe, 2015, and he took his team to the playoffs at least once or twice, and last year he really stunk it up for the Tennessee Titans and got his job taken away by Ryan Tannehill, who was a godsend for that team. Although a lot of that also had to do with Derrick Henry's running ability as well.
Yeah.
Mariota could use a little bit of support, and I think him being the backup for the Raiders could help out a bit if he's ever needed. Hopefully, we don't really have to need him. Hopefully, it's Carr throughout the whole season. But I'm with Carr.
I just say they have to go down the field more often than they are. I mean, his percentages are, I think you might have set a greater record for passing percentage, but if you're only going down 4 and 6 yards at a time.
Now, could you say he's also done that a lot? He went down the field a lot more in 2016. That was his really good year.
Oh, yeah, he did.
He had more yards in the last 2 years than that year.
Doesn't make a difference. They weren't quality yards.
I don't know. Especially last year, you got someone that's already. Okay, so for the previous year, I'm talking about 2018 when they were 4-12. You didn't have that much of a running game. You had Doug Martin and who was a bit inconsistent, and Marshawn Lynch who was only there for like 4 games because he had an injury. That's understandable with non-quality yards because you're throwing a lot more than you're running it because you already can't run it. But last year, you got a great running back with Josh Jacobs, who doesn't have to.
Yeah, take a lot of pressure off him.
Yeah, so if he was able to have another 4,000-yard season that year, I think that shows that he's made progress, and he's also efficient when he goes down the field more. He's not Patrick Mahomes where he has literally a gun for an arm, but
Mahomes is pretty impressive.
yeah, in every way possible. But I'm satisfied with Carr.
Okay.
And plus, to win, you also still need everything else for the whole team. You can't just have one good quarterback and be mediocre everywhere else. You need a great all-around team.
Yeah, which they're not right now. But we'll see. We'll see how the draft goes. When the draft happens, we'll have another conversation on this.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much closes us off on what we got to say about the Raiders. But, Father, do you have a closing statement?
Son, no, I don't.
Larry, the cat, do you have a closing statement?
No.
I believe he said no.
Keep licking your balls there, cat.
Yes, that is what he's doing. I think that's his way of saying no.
Anyway.
That pretty much ends our episode for today. We'll make sure we have one next week. We'll maybe even try to do 2 episodes next week to make up for some of the time that we've missed. One episode to, again, just do updates on all of our local teams, whatever else is going around the sports world. And one only about something I really love.
Oh, no.
Bowling. I love bowling so much.
You want to quickly mention your high scores the other day?
Oh, yeah. Last week I
knew you'd be happy about that.
The day before I got my wisdom teeth done, I went bowling with my friend Andrew. We played a lot of games, and in my last 3 games, I got a 196, a 193, and a 192. 196 being my record. My previous record before that was 170. And I'm actually going to go bowling later tonight, which I really look forward to because I really want to show off my skill, even though I haven't played in a week. And I just really can't wait to get back to it. You can already tell from how I'm speaking about it, I'm really passionate about bowling.
Yeah, I will not be on that bowling episode. He's going to be with some other friends, and it should be
fun.
Fun? Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We look forward to talking to you again.
Good night.
Good night.